Welcome to the 10-Minute Life Coaching Program. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. I train people for improved personal and professional development, offering my assistance for those ready to develop their goals into tangible, focused, and achievable plans of action. And this podcast is one tool I use to complete my mission. It works very simply. Within 10 minutes time, at the 10-minute mark of this podcast, you will get a complete life lesson that you can use for your personal development goals. You can just take it along with you and get something going right now. Put to action something that was been told in this lesson today. And if this lesson is something that is very familiar to you, it sounds like something that you're already doing that hasn't quite clicked yet, well, maybe we can help you out by finding some way to make things work a little better. Contact me via our website, 10minutelifecoach.com, and see if there's a way through group coaching or maybe through single coaching we can help you get on the right path. I have brought up the thought of gratitude many times in the past year or so, and mostly because I've been going through my own soul searching and needed to make sure I was reminded of the gratitude that the things I did have, even in times when lack was all around. And sometimes for a coach, it's really important to have their coaches and their coaching methods available when they need a little something. It's great when a coach can say something that they're offering you is something they used themselves and how it worked out. So gratitude is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and not so much about me per se this time, but in others. Going back to months ago when I went through a full big gratitude diary thing over a program with a coach where every single day I had to log 3 things I was grateful for in the morning, in the afternoons, and the night. So fast forward to about a week ago when I decided I was going to create my own gratitude document to go along with that to supplement some other gratitude things that I've been working on in the past couple of months. I had to think back to that exercise that I did and to previous exercise that I did for gratitude for things along that vein. One of the things you have to do when you're going through these sorts of trials and tribulations, and it was kind of a trial to go through the whole gratitude thing, is to be grateful for basically everything and anything and whatever came out. You could not be ungrateful. That's the ticker. That's the key there. That's the real hard part, is being a person who is grateful for just about whatever comes around, because there is a worse alternative to pretty much anything. And over the process, and many times I've done this in various cases, sometimes just personally for a few days, sometimes in a long form format, I've sat through and gone through a day of just being grateful for the day existing and having the ability to do something, or the fact that something wasn't working right in my life, but I still had a chance to make it better tomorrow, or that there were people who had it even worse off than I did. All fine, all dandy. So what does it have to do with me teaching you a lesson today? Well, if you were to take a similar journey, if you were to work on one of my gratitude journal entry things I'm working on right now, or you just decide yourself, I'm going to take a day to just be happy, be grateful, and not complain about anything. The challenge in not complaining about things on the day is everyone complains about basically everything. When you set yourself up to not do something, to abstain for something, you start to notice every single thing that other people do that is exactly what you're trying not to do. It's the law of attraction, how it actually works. The law of attraction doesn't necessarily manifest itself to bring stuff to you, but the thing that you are focused on becomes hyper-focused in the world. So if you think about Maseratis because you want to manifest a Maserati, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to bring you one. It just means you will notice more Maseratis out there if they're around. They'll pick your pace. If you buy a brand new car for a certain make and model, you will see more of those cars on the road because you're driving that car, and so that car is top of mind. If you are not doing something, say you're trying to give up smoking, you'll notice how many people and how many places people are smoking. You're trying to back away from eating junk. You'll notice how much junk food is actually around the workplace, how many of your friends and coworkers are always shoveling stuff down their mouth because of boredom and not because they're actually hungry. If you try to not be angry for a day, you try to be more grateful for your surroundings, you try to do a day of non-complaining, you will find that many people are addicted to complaining, to being ungrateful, for blaming others, for pushing their problems onto something else as the actual cause of the problem, and then using that as a way to excuse themselves from any actual action to fix it. What can you do about them? Not very much. In fact, you can't really do much at all, period, because they are going to live their own lives. And unless you're going to find a way to encourage them to do their own gratitude day or their own day of non-complaining, and they actually take you up on it, nothing's going to happen because they're not noticing it because they're in the mindset of what's going on. You, however, have noticed it. And because you notice how much complaining there is, you know it's going to be hard to kick the habit if everyone around you is complaining. That doesn't mean you don't have it in you to actually fix it. You just have to find ways to minimize the other complaints around. If you're trying to quit smoking, you don't hang out with smokers as much, and you definitely don't go to the old smoking places because the smell, the activity, just the action of people doing the motions will make you want to get back into the motions. You have to find ways to keep yourself grateful, keep yourself happy, if you will, even when things around you are going bad. If you notice people are doing a lot of back talk and gossiping, you've got to find ways to gracefully pull yourself out of those conversations. Say a few quick words. Don't be impolite because you are trying to be grateful after all. And then pull yourself out of the conversation with something that needs to be done. What you'll find, just like even when you give up any other vice, is that you'll have lots of free time to focus on something else. And when you find the right thing to focus on, it becomes a much greater challenge for you, which is what you're looking for, challenges to make you better, as opposed to an easier time to just fall back into place and be where you were. If gratitude is not your real problem, then find something else that you're doing too much of that is more of a negative thing. But I tend to believe that most people have an issue with complaining on a general regular basis and not just a here or there basis. So you can take a day to be happy for everything, or at least not be grumpy about everything, and journal it, talk about it, write it down, compose some sort of blog post or podcast, if you will, to talk about it and put it out there and express your feelings on how you felt on the day when you fought hard not to complain. Because there'll be some mixed feelings about wanting to jump on something that really was a problem, but not being able to do that. Then we go back to normal. You can complain about the things that you want to, but not just out of habit because everyone complains about it. You'll have a better sense of, well, why does this actually bother me? And if it really bothers you, you'll say, well, I didn't complain about it yesterday. I just left the situation. Why can't I do that more often? You may find you can leave the situation and leave them very far behind, or you may find that you really are trapped in some sort of thing that you can't get out of. It might be a work thing that you can't get out of until you find a new workplace. That may be the solution. It may be a relationship thing that you can't get out of until you resolve the issues in the relationship, which, of course, may mean ending it if possible, if necessary. You'll see. But what you will see is that you'll see so much complaining, so much of the backlash of what you're trying not to do as you're trying to be good at it, that it will drive you nuts if you're not careful about it. So I suggest you find different ways to do gratitude. I'm not going to post anything in this post show or in the show notes here, but think about various ways you can do this, even as simple as saying for the next hour, I'm going to think about all the things. For the next 6 hours, I'm going to not complain to anyone about anything. Make it something simple and just take time to notice how much actual anger is just kind of tossed out there as a way of complaints exists in the world, because it's going to be all around. Now, you cannot change the way anyone else thinks or the way they complain, as we said earlier, unless you're going to convince them to not complain as well. But when they do come to that conclusion that maybe they do need to find some sort of gratitude exercise to feel grateful about what they have, you'll be able to help them get initiated, get it going, and give them support, because they're going to have the same issues you had in finding that everyone out there is still complaining even when they choose not to. And that's it for today's edition of the 10-Minute Life Coach. Thank you very much for joining us for the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you get the episodes every single week as they go live Sunday night-ish, Monday morning-ish, however it is you check your pods. And we are pretty much anywhere you're looking for. We're on Apple Podcasts, of course. We're on Stitcher. We're on Spreaker. We're on Google Play Music. Whatever they're changing that to, I think Google Play is going away and YouTube Music is coming or whatnot. We'll do our best to be there as well. We're on Blueberry. We're even places that we don't even know half the times. And if you have your own specific podcatcher that you love and enjoy, stop by the website, 10minutelifecoach.com, and click on the buttons for subscribe. There are links for our RSS feed you can put right into your podcatcher, or click on the buttons to find out where we are so you can make sure you don't miss us. Share the podcast with some friends and some like-minded people so we have more people in the community. And we really are working on this community thing. Now, by the time you hear this one, we're recording these in a few batches ahead of time so that we can, have a life, to be honest. We are basically scrapping the website idea for the $10 Life Coach, and I'm going into testing a new app for that. So there'll be an app, a web app, and maybe a mobile app for your phone. I believe it just comes with the package to work on that one. And we're going to set it up for we'll call it a beta test. We're looking for inaugural members of the $10 Life Coach. Now, this is going to get you in for zero money to start off with. There you go, to test the thing out and talk to each other. And we're going to build a base to bring people in so that we can help get them started, and they can in turn help new people come in. So I'm looking for my base subscribers, if you will, my founders, for the $10 Life Coach program. We're going to do it in a different program, totally different program, stepping out of the web interface that just isn't quite working for me. So if you're interested, send me an email to info at Cleveland like the city, PAYNE.net. That's the letter J, Cleveland like the city, PAYNE.net, just like my main website, jclevelandpayne.net. The email goes to info at jclevelandpayne.net. Just send it there. We're gonna be more focused as the years come up and be more business-like in making this happen, because this is not just a hobby, and it is a mission and a ministry in a sense, but it also is a business, and it's supposed to sustain itself. And if it's not sustaining itself, I can't sustain myself, and I can't give out more information to folks out there. Shout out to all the folks who gave me feedback in the last upcoming weeks for the shows. As we said, we do these in batches, so putting them out there as they come real time just is really weird. But thank you for the feedback, and you can always send more feedback via the website, 10minutelifecoach.com, or right here via my email, as we said, info at jclevelandpayne.net. So, with that said, thank you so much for joining us for this week's podcast. Hopefully you are having a grand time. If not, the website has various ways you can get in contact with me so we can get to you on one-on-one coaching or some sort of accountability coaching, or email me directly and we'll figure out what we can do, because we will figure out what we can do. And, of course, be here next week, because hopefully the message, the lesson, the words I say will maybe help you out in whatever's going on that day from the 10-Minute Life Coach.